This document camera, ladies and gentlemen, is just an unbelievable piece of work. I love it. I got it the other day. I've been using it in my class for about a week or so. I love it. The kids love it. Everybody loves this thing. So I wanted to bring a more interactive lesson to you today because it's that kind of a lesson. And what we're going to be learning about is how to measure the perimeter of real objects, things that are around you that you may find in your house, in the park, I don't know, in the park, in your classroom. And we're going to learn how to measure the perimeter of it as a continuation of the previous lesson. So before we do that, we need to look at our perimeter measuring tool. We're not going to have boxes and dot paper to do this with. We're going to actually have to physically use a ruler, line it up, and calculate the length of each side. So let's learn how to use this ruler here. Check this out, guys. I can zoom right into this thing here. I can go real close. I can go closer than that, but I won't. So on one side of this ruler, we have what's called, well, not all rulers say this, but this one does. It says mm, which stands for millimeters. And in grade 3, you don't have to really focus or understand that too much. But on the other side, it says inches or inch. And the only time you're going to really need inches is if, well, if you're a carpenter, you deal with a lot of wood. They like to use inches in their system. But if you're in the United States, inches is very, very important. In Canada, though, we don't really use it very often or at all in any math courses. Our system here is metric, which means meters or centimeters or anything with meters, kilometers. That's our kind of system here. So we're going to be looking at that, millimeters. So, but first thing you got to understand here, and again, you don't have to know this in grade 3. Let's zoom back out. Well, actually, let's zoom in. We're going to need to. Is that a centimeter is from here to there. That's a centimeter. Okay, now in between the centimeter, we have a bunch of little lines. And if you count them, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the big one. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 little lines, and 10 of them together makes a centimeter. And here we have another centimeter. Here to here is a centimeter. Here to there is a centimeter. It's kind of like, you know, the dot paper or those square papers we used in the last perimeter lesson. It's always the spaces in between that determines the perimeter. Here it's the same thing. It's the spaces. We have from here to here is a space, and it's a centimeter. Here to here is another space. So now we have 2 centimeters, and so on. If I start at the 3 and I go to the 5, check it out. From 3 to 4 is a space. From 4 to 5 is another space. We have 2 centimeters in that gap over there. If I go from the 2 to the 6, how many spaces do we have? Well, we have 1 space here, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So 4 centimeters is what we, say the length is. So let's get that down on paper. And again, you don't have to know this in grade 3, but it's worth, jotting down and knowing for the future when you have to understand this. So let's zoom out a little bit more. Yeah, like that. So we have our first concept that we looked at is that if you take 10 millimeters, 10 mm, that is the same as saying 1 centimeter. Okay, so if you have 20 millimeters, and say we have 20 of them, well, that's like saying, okay, let's count 20 millimeters. Let's zoom back into this thing. So here's 10 millimeters. Here's another 10 millimeters. That's 20 millimeters. So that makes, let's see, 2 centimeters. So we write 2 centimeters. Let's zoom back out. So that's number 1. You have to understand that. The second thing you got to understand is whenever you measure an... Oh, actually, before we get on to that, let's do something else kind of connected to something we'll be looking at later on. And that's the idea of a meter. 1 meter. Now, I don't have a meter stick here with me, but if you're watching this and you go to school, you're in a classroom, your teacher's going to have a meter stick. It's those really long rulers. And what those are 100 centimeters. So if you see here, imagine this. Imagine you got, how many do we have here? We have from here to there, that's 10 centimeters. And from, let's look at the whole thing. If you look at the entire ruler, it goes up to 30 centimeters. So this thing here, this ruler, and most rulers go up to 30 centimeters. Some go to 15. Some are really short rulers. This one goes up to 30. And a standard ruler will do that. This is only 30. A meter stick is 100 centimeters. So if we write 1 meter, that's like saying 100 centimeters. So let's say we had 2 meters. If we had 2 meters, how many centimeters would that be? It'd be 200 centimeters. Okay, if we had, let's say, 400 centimeters, how many meters would that be? How many meters would that be? Well, if you look at the pattern here, I mean, every 100 makes a meter. So 100 makes 1, 200 makes 2, 400 would make 4 meters. Okay, so you do have to know this. This is important for grade 3. So this is grade 3. I'm going to put a star beside it because it's very, very important. You have to know how to convert from one to the other. So again, I'm kind of going a little off topic. I know this has nothing to do with perimeter yet, but what if I said that I have something that's 25 centimeters long, something like this. Let's say it's, if I measure it, let's say I took my ruler, I measured it. Again, this one here is not 25 centimeters, but it's about 3 centimeters. But let's say I had this as 25 centimeters. I can ask you a question, and you will get a lot of this, especially on the provincial exams. They like to ask you questions like, how many of these will make 1 meter? And you have to know that a meter is, oh, here it is. A meter is 100 centimeters. This thing here isn't a meter. It's only 25. So I have to get another one and put it beside it. I have to actually draw it in, show my work. That's 25 centimeters. Here is another 25 centimeters. Now ask yourself, am I at 100 yet? Am I at 1 meter? Let's put a question mark. Am I at 1 meter yet? Well, we know that a meter is 100 centimeters. This is 25, 50, 75. So I need to go one more here. And that makes, now I've got my 100. So how many of these things, and they could be anything. They could be toy trains or little toy cars, marshmallows, doesn't matter. How many of them will make a meter? You're going to need 4 of them. 4 of them. What if the question was restated to say how many of them will make, so keep this the same, how many of these will make, let's say 3 meters. Okay, well, to make 3 meters, now we don't have it written here, but 3 meters, we all know 3 meters by this pattern here is 300 centimeters. They're the same thing. So that would mean I have to keep building this train or whatever you have connected here. Keep building it until you get to this number, 300 centimeters. So I'd need, let's see here, another 4. That's 25, 25, 25, 25. And that takes me now, that's 1 meter. These guys here, put them together, you get 1 meter, and I'm going to need another 4. Let's make them really small here. Now, they should be the same size, but Mr. Melhem's running out of room, so he's going to kind of squeeze it in, and he's going to say that these here, 25, 4 of them, will make my 3rd meter. So I'm going to need, let's see, 4, 8, 12 to make my 3 meters. Now let's get down to the real important stuff and what I'm trying to, get across to you in this lesson, which is how to measure real objects. So let's say I took my first object and I have here a case. I've got all right, this is Adobe Acrobat Reader. Great program for a lot of things that I do. Highly recommend it to any teacher. This is like free marketing for this company. For my 2 visitors on this YouTube page who will end up watching this. So let's see what we could do here to measure this perimeter. What you want to do is, a lot of people, they mess up, they do the wrong thing, because this is what they do. Let me zoom in. They put their ruler like this. They put their ruler like that. Now look at this. Number one thing is, you're not supposed to line up the edge of the ruler directly like that, because the edge of the object has to line up with the 0. And look where the 0 is. It's kind of in the middle of the object, in the middle of the space. What you have to do is you got to push your ruler over like that. Now check this baby out here. We got, let's light it up a bit so we could see it. Now you see the object. There, I put my 0 right on the edge, not like this. You got to line the 0 up with the edge of the object. And now you can look over and let's see where we end up. So it looks to me like the, what do we have? We have 13 is right there. 13 and a half. Now we're not going to use halves. Let's just estimate and say, well, if it's halfway, let's just bump it up to 14. That's the rule. If you get to the middle, you go to the end. You say 14. So we're going to remember that. This is 14 over here. This whole edge, the top edge is 14. And since the bottom edge is the same length, they match, we're just going to say, here it is. We're just going to say that this is 14 on the bottom and this whole thing on the top is 14. Now, all we have to do is measure one of these sides here because the other one on the other side is going to match exactly. So that's a little bit bright. Here we go. That's much better. So let's do this again. So I'm going to put my ruler up. I'm going to line it up. Make sure that the 0 is on the edge. So let's see if I did it right. Here's the edge. Now that's 0. See, it's on the edge. Here, that's wrong. You don't want to do this. Check it out. Big mistake. You never line up the edge of the ruler with the edge of the object. You want to line up the 0 with the edge of the object. So now if we zoom out and then we check the bottom here, let's see what we have. Let's see where we end up. And it looks like it's, let's move back here. It looks like the edge of the object, which is right here, lines up with the 19. So that means this whole side, this whole entire side here is 19 centimeters, which means the other one is also 19. So what do we have here? We said that the first one was 14, and the second one here is 19. Now, in my class, you're going to have to be able to draw the object that you're measuring. I think I made a worksheet I handed out, or I will hand out if I didn't. And it asks you to draw the object and list the dimensions. So what you would do is you would just draw a rough sketch of this. So it's a rectangle, like that. And then you're going to list all the lengths. So this one is 14 centimeters, and this whole side is 19 centimeters. And so that means this is 14, and this is 19. And so if you add them together, you could use your double strategy. 14 and 14 is 28. And 19 and 19 is 38. Now at this point, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to use your front-end addition skills. And so we have 20 plus 30. That's 50. And then we have 8 plus 8 is 16. So the perimeter is 66 centimeters. And that's what you would write. Let's take a look at another object I have here. I took this from my son Tamer. He's turning 8 months on Tuesday. I took this from his room. He won't notice, don't worry. And it's a triangle. It's a musical triangle. He loves this thing, by the way. If I asked you to measure the perimeter of this thing, you would do the exact same thing. You would take your ruler. Let's move this thing out of the way. We don't need it anymore. We take this ruler here. We line it up on one edge. So we want to start at the vertex. Okay, that's always a good idea. Start at the vertex and line up your ruler with the vertex. Let's see how I did. Let's move in real close. Actually, let's do this. Let's go pop. Yeah. Then we're gonna go like that. So, oh, that's not good enough. I gotta move back out. Zoom right in again. So, yeah, that looks like a good job. It's right on the vertex. And if I zoom out and I look at the other side, it looks like I am at exactly 17 centimeters. You could see that, hey? So 17 centimeters is one edge. I think they're all going to be about the same, but let me just double check. Maybe I'm wrong. This one here, I'm not going to zoom in here. I'm just going to You just have to go by faith or just look at it. You could probably tell. Actually, you can tell. I'm looking at it on my computer screen. It's pretty good. It's very clear, 17 centimeters. And if my hypothesis is correct, that means this one should also be 17 centimeters. And let's see, put the 0 on the vertex. Move it around. The 0 on the vertex. And to the other vertex, it's 17 centimeters. So all of them are 17. Now, again, in my class, you're going to have to be able to draw what you're measuring. So this is a triangle, and it looks like this. It's an open top triangle. So I'm going to remember to show that in my writing, in my drawing, or my illustration. So you're going to do this. 1, 2. It's a little bit more rounded, but that'll do. And it's open on the top. And so I'm going to write 17 centimeters on one edge, 17 centimeters on the other, and 17 centimeters on the last one. And again, the perimeter is going to be 17 plus 17 plus 17. And what's the answer? Using your front-end addition skills, you should know that 10 and 10 is 20. Well, hold on. Front-end addition, you don't need that. You know this is a doubles, and this is 34. And plus 17. So we have 34 plus 17. Now you can use front-end addition. That makes 40. And this makes, let's see, we have 40. And this part here makes 7 and 4. You know what? 7 and 3 makes 10. We learned that. So 7 plus 4 must be 11. And 40 plus 11, we know that's 55 centimeters. So the perimeter, P, is going to be 55 centimeters. Let's take a look at one more object that's not a triangle, not a rectangle. This one here is pretty cool. It's a converter, and what it does is it converts HDMI to what does it do? Converts HDMI to USB. But anyways, that's not important. The important part is learning how to measure the perimeter of this thing, and it doesn't have 4 sides. Look at how many sides it has. It has, or edges, let's call them edges for our sake. It has 1 edge, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 edges. It's kind of like an octagon, except the sides aren't all the same. How many vertices does it have? So remember, vertices are the pointy areas. It has 1, 2, well, let's count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 edges, 8 vertices. We care about the perimeter though. So let's measure it. The short side, let's bring it in, boys. Let's go like that. And now this is going to be hard to see because, well, it's black on black. But maybe if I get really close, we'll see it. Let's get really close. Yeah, like that. So you could see it goes up to the 3 centimeter mark. Let's, if you can't see it, there it is. It lines up. Here's the 3. And it's perfect. And then if we measure the top, again, let's put our ruler on the edge. Now you're going to have to go you have to trust me on this, but I see 11 centimeters. And so we have 3 on this side, 11 here. This is probably going to be 3. Let's just double check. Put the 0 on the vertex. Yep, it is 3. And so we have an idea of what this thing is going to look like when we draw it out. We know where all the numbers are going to go. So we have, let's see, we have a short side here. We got a long side there, a short side, and then a long side here, and then something like that, and then like that. Kind of a bad drawing, but hey, it's good enough for our sake. So let's see here. We have 3 centimeters for the short one. We had, what was it, 11 centimeters? So we have 11 centimeters here, 3, 11, 3, 11, 3, 11. This is a beauty. Look, we could use our addition strategies to get this answer because the perimeter is going to be the addition or the sum of all of these edges. And they're all centimeter, centimeter, centimeter. It's very important that you understand what these numbers mean. So let's see if we can use our addition strategies. We have 11 and 11 is 22. 11 and 11 is 22. So these make 22. These make 22. And we know 22 and 22 is 44. So let's write 44 centimeters plus 3 and 3 is 6. 3 and 3 is 6. 6 and 6 is 12. So we'll write 12 centimeters. And again, look, I'm not using my fingers. I'm using the strategies that we've learned in the past unit, and which is all these addition strategies. Now we can use our front end addition strategy. And we have here 40 and 10 is 50. 4 and 2 is 6. And 50 and 6 makes 56 centimeters. So the perimeter, we're going to write the perimeter is 56 centimeters. Well, that takes care of everything I wanted to show you here. Now, look, you're going to get a worksheet. And if you don't, I mean, if you're not in my class, or what you could do is you can take a few objects and measure their perimeters. Now, look, there's going to be some cases where the object that might be in front of you might not be straight edged. And if you ever deal with an object like this, you don't have to worry until you're in grade 7. That's when you're going to learn about the perimeter of round objects. Or if you have a measuring tape, I guess you could figure it out. Your measuring tape will wrap around it. But rulers don't really, I mean, if you bend this thing, it's going to snap. So don't use your ruler on round things. That's why we like the straight edges. I mean, those things are much easier to measure than, something like this, which is round. So in grade 3, you only have to know straight edged objects like this, and that's it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining me in this lesson. I wish you great success. Keep practicing, keep working hard, and you're going to just keep excelling and getting better and better. Have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Take care.